We have something special in each of the verticals in which we operate, and we're very proud and thankful to partner with each and every one of you. I think for us, this is about relationship, it's about family, and it's about the it factor. And I don't say this lightly. I think in each of the verticals in which we operate, you can only get it with us. Let's start with medical office. You probably think of medical office properties as just a collection of assets that house doctor groups or hospital systems. What really is driving our traction in this space, beyond demographics and a changing healthcare delivery model, is our strategic partnerships with MB Real Estate, with hospital systems, with doctor groups, and with many others, all of whom are focused on making a real difference. We built a very successful track record in student housing, leasing to Gen X and Gen Y students, with baby boomer parents footing the bill. We continue to be very active in this sector, as we're still one of the largest owners in the country with almost 19,000 beds. Kids today want to live in a great place that is cool, fun, and has the it factor. And one investor, I think aptly put it, he said, really, your properties are Four Seasons residences cleverly disguised as student housing properties. In talking about senior housing, for those of you who were fortunate enough to be here last year and hear Tom Harrison speak, you know that it's Tom and Richard and their firm, Discovery Management's mission to deliver extremely high-quality living environment to all of their tenants. Tom, Richard, and Discovery have always looked forward. They've always been at the forefront of many innovations. I'll name just a few. They've brought highly regarded outside chefs to each of their properties. They founded something called Discovery University, which is continuing education on campus, bringing in college professors, and they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Do well and do good at the same time. That really is who we are. We combine entrepreneurial talent and zeal with capital to deliver a go-to platform that is family for everybody involved. John Bauder is to my immediate left. He's one of 3 principals of Capstone Collegiate Communities. Together we've done 15 developments comprising more than $600 million of investment. At this point in time, we've sold 9 of those 15, generating more than $700 million in proceeds, and those sales have produced an average ROI of 2 times and an average IRR of 40%, which is why John's on this panel.
You're welcome.
Thank you. To his left is Peter Westmeyer, who's the CEO and managing principal of MB Real Estate's Medical Office Group. MB is privately held, has been in business since 1982. MB has more than 300 employees and manages more than 23 million square feet nationally in approximately 25 states. Since May 2013, when we did our first transaction with Peter, we've closed, and I said it should be like that debt table in Times Square that keeps changing, because I was looking out front and it's, you know, I think it had the square footage at 1.9 million and the number of properties at 24. But this week we've closed a couple, so we've closed more than 2 million square feet. That's comprised more than $500 million of total investment, 36 properties. And here's the exciting part for KREP 4. We have 10 additional transactions under agreement that comprise 70 properties and over 4 million square feet and over $1 billion of investment. So it's been an incredible partnership to this point, and we expect that to continue.
By the way, I think we're closing a deal in a few hours as well. So just all your numbers are wrong now.
He's taking over.
To my right is Richard Hutchinson. Richard is the president of Discovery Senior Living. As Al mentioned, Discovery is our partner on everything that we've invested in the senior housing sector to date, and we've invested quite a bit. Our portfolio is up to 21 assets, and this includes existing assets that we own as well as investments that are under contract. But we're up to 21 assets. That totals about 5,000 units and about $1.1 billion of total transaction costs. And so on a per unit basis or on a total unit basis, that would rank us somewhere between 25 and 30th largest in the industry.
Peter, you've had a lot of partners. In your words, what differentiates our partnership from others that you've had?
We have had a number of different equity partners, and we've kind of run the gamut of varieties. We've had large private equity, small private equity, state pension funds, sovereign wealth fund, family office type investors. And really the way we used to do it is we would source a deal, put together a package, effectively negotiate all the terms, take it to our partner and say yes or no. You fast forward to today, and we have you guys involved from the front end through due diligence, through negotiation of the contract. We get your legal, asset management, investment, construction teams all incorporated into our process. So it's a totally different.
Al, not to cut you off, Peter, but I wanted to add something to that, because I know Peter was talking about the experience with the Kane folks on the underwriting and the negotiating and all that other stuff. It actually started for us a little bit earlier than that too, because we had a transaction, if you recall, the conservatory transaction, that Discovery and many other players in the industry, it's a portfolio of over 1,000 units. We coveted it quite a bit and was never able to get that across the finish line. Well, Max, who's been in this industry even before coming to Kane, had a relationship with the folks at Conservatory, and he was able to get that deal on the table for us, and again, get it done.
Well, relative to, I know closings are very important, as we all know. We want to have a profitable end result. But when Kane was selling the first portfolio, Al and I had a handshake relationship that we were going to add a phase to one of our properties that was in the portfolio. The purchaser of that portfolio decided in the 11th hour, right before we were getting ready to close that third phase, that they didn't want to do the third phase. So I looked at Al and I said, what do we do? We're ready to go, we're ready to close. And he said, John, we're going to honor our commitment to you. And they did honor that commitment. So the partnership is critical when it's a two-way street, when it's not everything you wanted or thought it was going to be. And Al and team did exactly what they said they were going to do.
I would just say, following up on that, we had the only development that we've ever delivered late was a property in Boone, North Carolina that was being built last winter, and due to the horrific weather, we were not able to deliver it on time. And John and his team, Rob Howell and his partner, came in and said, hey, we're not going to be able to deliver this on time, and there are significant overruns, but that's why we do what we do. And so they completely stepped up. There was never a discussion about us putting in capital, let's retrade the deal, let's figure something else out. We didn't anticipate that. So it certainly works both ways.
We worked between the three of us the longest with Kane, and initially my team was going, oh my God, these guys are all over everything. They're in marketing, they're in management, they're in construction, but what is the result of that is now my team is excited to have them, because it creates a collaborative effort, and the end result is we get a better product, we get new ideas brought to the table, so it's turned out to be terrific.
Joined today by David Selznick, who's our Chief Investment Officer, and we're here to talk today about the other segment of the deal that is just as critical to success, namely the financing side. So if you've got good, great equity partners and financing partners, you've got a winning combination. I'd like to start off by making the first introduction. Rich, I know I speak for the industry as a whole when I say that there's nobody more respected in the sector of student housing in particular than you are, and we're proud to be part of the relationship with you and Freddie Mac. Would you take a couple of minutes to just tell the audience what your role is and the nature of your relationship and the scope in working with Kane Anderson?
I work for a little housing finance company you may have heard of called Freddie Mac. I'm the Vice President of Production and Sales in our multifamily division. I oversee the Southeast region, which extends from Maryland down to Florida and then more or less east of the Mississippi. I also oversee our student housing initiative, And last year was involved with our senior housing initiative, so I was working with Kane Anderson on multiple fronts. A quick overview of where Freddie Mac finished 2014. First, we financed $28.3 billion of multifamily housing. In the Southeast region that I oversee, we did $7 billion. Senior housing, we financed $1.2 billion. It was our best year in senior housing finance since 2007. And in student housing, we financed $1.3 billion. I'm proud to say that Freddie Mac, we are the largest student housing financier, and our portfolio of student housing loans is pristine. I believe we have 1 or 2 defaults on about a $7 to $8 billion student housing portfolio, so it's very good. Also very proud to say that Kane Anderson was our largest borrower last year at over $800 million. So think about that. Kane Anderson is also part of a select group of ours, which you'd expect, which we call select sponsors. These select sponsors are high quality, high volume borrowers of ours. They were one of the first of about 10 select sponsors that we picked a couple years ago, probably 2011. They're also the only student housing borrower in our select borrower group. We reserve this group for, as I said, our best borrowers. They receive better pricing, anywhere from 10 to 20 basis points. They receive better credit terms. Given our track record with them, their financial strength, we're able to basically bend credit terms a little bit from more or less your standard one-off deal.
Hello everyone, my name's Todd Goulet. I'm with KeyBank. I've been with the bank about 15 years and I manage multifamily loan production. Just a quick overview on KeyBank. We're a regional bank headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio. Our retail banking network, which many of you may be more familiar with, stretches across the northern part of the country. I guess they call it the contrarian model. Everyone wants to be in the Sun Belt. Someone at KeyBank decided we would be in the Snow Belt.
Or the Rust Belt.
Yes. Yeah. However, our corporate bank, which really is the largest revenue generator for the bank, is a national platform with offices in 23 cities around the country. And the real estate capital group is the largest segment of our corporate bank. Last year, we closed about $28 billion in commercial real estate loans, which makes us one of the largest real estate lenders in the country. And the model that we built our real estate platform around is really based on the relationship with our clients. We want to be as meaningful as possible with our clients. We want our interests to be aligned, and we want to be transacting business in as many areas and as frequently as possible with our best clients. And that works better for the client because we're able, as Rich said, to get better terms, sure, to get the attention of the most senior people within the bank, to make sure that we're structuring deals that work best for you. I think the relationship with Kane Anderson started in 2008, right? When Frank and Al were buying 2 properties in Lawrence, Kansas. We provided a $20 million loan there, and since then we've done $1.5 billion of loans together. Jeez. Which is tremendous to see the growth that you guys have experienced, and great to be part of that. And last year, 2014 alone, we did $625 million of loans, making you the largest and most important client in KeyBank Real Estate Capital last year.
Frank? Not so bad.
We did it. A little $20 million in 2008. Who would have expected to get to this point?
My name is Jim Seymour. I run the healthcare real estate lending group for GE Capital. We do about $3.5 billion of financings a year. I think what differentiates us a little bit, and you'll get a sense for how we all kind of fit together here for a totality in terms of financing for Kane, is we do almost all of our lending, we hold it on balance sheet. So of that $3.5 billion last year, almost $3 billion of it we actually held on our own balance sheet. Which gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to take deals down of all shapes and sizes. And secondly, all we do is healthcare. I mean, so you heard Al and Richard talking this morning about certificates of need and Medicare and Medicaid. And we got people whose full-time jobs it is to make sure we understand that. And I think what that does is that helps us. We all talk about structuring a loan to a business plan. And we have unique insight into what these guys are trying to do in terms of the execution of their equity returns. And that gives us a lot more flexibility and understanding to take the risk we need to take to structure a loan to that. In terms of our relationship with Kane, relative to these gentlemen, it's fairly new. I think we started together in 2013. We're doing all we can to catch up.
You're doing a pretty good job.
Actually, the first transaction we did together was a sale. You heard this morning about the Aston Garden sale. We have a small equity book, which we've been selling off over the last several years. And we met with I think it was actually in a hotel conference room in D.C. with Frank and with Al. And we'd never met them before. And they kind of went through the Kane Anderson story. And they talked about their selection of partners. And like, it was one of the more exciting meetings I've had in a while, because I think, one, held the properties and we felt like we had a buyer. But also we were thinking, given the scope of what they wanted to do in terms of medical office and in seniors housing and what we do from a debt perspective, that it lined up beautifully. And I think really over the last couple of years we've executed on that. You know, we've closed about 19 loans.
It's 19 loans.
In 2 years, and knock wood, hopefully by the end of the first quarter there'll be a few more.
And over $500 million?
Over $500 million.
Started in 2007, Zagster has grown to be the premier bike-sharing service in the university and corporate campus space. Aaron Smith is the co-founder of the Young Invincibles, the largest youth advocacy group in the country. Through their efforts, the Young Invincibles were instrumental in shaping national legislation to allow for young adults to stay on their parents' insurance up to age 26. No small feat for a young organization. And last but certainly not least is Mark Flaherty, head of marketing at Interscope Records. Interscope is the premier record label in the country, and Mark and his team at Interscope work with some musicians you may have heard of, including U2, Lady Gaga, and Madonna.
There's a lot of competition these days fighting for the attention of our consumer. So one of our goals in business strategies is to find unique ways to cut through this noise and attract people to our properties and websites where they will sign leases. To achieve this, we're creating innovative strategies for our residents to foster that sense of community, generate buzz, and establish our properties as social hubs. So we're focusing our efforts on creating educational, social, and lifestyle experiences as a way to grab the attention of our consumer and differentiate ourselves from the rest of the competition.
We're in the early stages of our relationship with each of these groups, and I wanted to ask you guys from your perspective, at this point, when you think about a Kane partnership at the 5-year timeline or the 10-year timeline, how are you guys thinking about it? How do you think it will grow? And we'd love to start with you.
Sure. I think we're seeing now on some of our properties is that there's value for Kane to launch a bike sharing program at that campus. At that property. But what we're starting to see is that by having a bike sharing program on that campus, now the university wants to get involved. And we're starting to see this at properties like the Fuse, where Purdue University really wants to bring a bike sharing program to campus. And so what's really unique about this relationship is that there's value to just launch it at an individual asset, but now we can expand that bike sharing program throughout the entire campus, and Kane Anderson gets credit for helping start that program. And so, longer down the road, we envision becoming the zip car of the bike sharing industry, where we'd be at a majority of campuses around the country, and that bike sharing would be an important part of that transportation mix.
Fantastic. And that's one of the things that we're seeing is if Purdue University decides to adopt Zagster, our property, the Fuse, is going to be a de facto campus site, and kids are going to be used to going and checking out these bikes, and it's going to be a wonderful extension that's going to help reinforce our property.
Yeah, so we're incredibly excited about the partnership. I think it starts with this Millennial Money project, but I think the potential is really huge. And for us, like we've said, it's about creating a center point of sort of campus life and intellectual conversation around some of the economic issues that we're talking about. I could imagine going beyond what we're doing now to having even financial planning services or financial education services, like one-on-one with students. I think that would provide huge value, and obviously I think a lot of schools are actually not doing nearly enough to prepare students, for example, for how they're going to pay off their student loans when they get out. So I think there's tons of potential, but again, it's about sort of creating that center of campus life, a place that students really want to be.
Okay, great.
Right, so I mean, what we're trying to do is, pull people to our properties. And with concerts, where we're seeing a lot of success with that.
What we really want to do here is create a mechanism for kids to come from outside the properties, non-residents, to come in, be exposed, and to walk away and talk about, wow, that place is cool. You can have play the amenity game, but that's something very special and you get word of mouth from that. It's also about, and we've had some separate discussions together about the synergies between our companies and the things that we could do together. We've always been, as an industry, part of the community. Community rallies around us, so we want to try and work with the other partners as well. And I've said to both of you candidly, I mean, I think that for Kane, separate from what you're doing with us, there's a business within a business here. There isn't a brand out there, and if you curate it properly and you're smart about it, that wouldn't want access in this way, in where they live, in the ways that they live. It's a no-brainer.
Great. I'd like to thank, again, all of you for being here and for being our partners. I take tremendous pride in the fact that I know all of you and that I know most of our LPs, and it's very personal for us. We take it very seriously. We really enjoy working with all of you, and we look forward to years of partnership together. So thank you very much.